Welcome to La Cucina di Sandrino, Sandrino's Cucina. I'm Sandrino, and welcome to my recipe for pasta fagioli. Okay, for this recipe, for my own recipe, I like to use these Great Northern white beans dried, and I use onions and garlic and a few stalks of celery. All those are chopped coarsely, good olive oil, and a 28-ounce can of the peeled Italian tomatoes, imported if possible, water, and this is an additional jar of marinara sauce that my mother-in-law made. Ditalini pasta is what I prefer. And then there's some herbs, rosemary, and thyme, and basil. And then we also have bay leaves and chicken stock. So this is how I like to make my pasta fagioli. These are all coarsely chopped. The garlic is minced. And the tomato from the can is also, they're whole, but they're also coarsely chopped. I also like to start out with a little bit of pancetta. Usually this is how it's sold, and I usually ask for a 1/4-inch slice. Pancetta is a bacon that is cured rather than smoked. It's the Italian version of bacon. It's used in a lot of dishes. So this is diced into small pieces. The beans are soaked, of course, overnight or longer to soften them. And you should cover the beans soaking overnight. After soaking, the beans are drained in a colander. At some point, you can start cooking the pasta, and of course, it should be salted, no oil. This is a big pot I use for cooking the pasta fagioli. And so now we prepare the actual soup. Start out with olive oil on a medium-high flame. Heat it up and add the pancetta pieces. Let that cook for 2 to 3 minutes. You may have to lower the heat if it starts to smoke. Then you add just about everything else. You start out with the celery and the onion and the garlic. Let that go along with the pancetta for about another 3 to 5 minutes. When that's done, then everything else goes in. So it doesn't really matter at this point. They all go in sequentially. I always like to put the beans in and stir, and then the herbs, and followed by the liquids, the tomatoes, and in the juices. By the way, don't forget to use the juice that's in the tomato cans. So I add those, and then the marinara sauce, and the broth and the water. And at this point, I forgot to put the bay leaves. I'll be putting them in a little bit later. As you'll see, I'll also be adding some Parmigiano cheese rinds to give additional flavor to the soup as it cooks. At this point, we put the heat up to high because we want to bring this to a boil. There's the basil leaves, which I had forgotten originally. This is just to show you that I have my own recipe stored in an app that I like to use called Paprika on the iPad, iPhone. Here's the rinds. You can find these at the grocery store. Of course, they make a lot of money selling just the rinds for the cheese that they sell, that they grate. So I throw 1 or 2 pieces in there, and that'll come out at the end. So once the soup is boiling, we lower the heat to allow it to simmer for 2 hours. At any point, I like to prepare the pasta, so I cook it regularly, nothing special. This barilla pasta here, Vitalini, goes for 11 minutes to become cooked al dente. And it doesn't matter. I cook my pasta separately. This is, once it's cooked, I just place it in a bowl, add a little bit of olive oil, mix it around, and that is to prevent the pasta from sticking, because it may sit there for 2 hours before adding it. So I do not cook the pasta along with the soup. It's done separately. And so stir occasionally while simmering. Keep it covered, of course. You don't want the liquid to evaporate over those approximately 2 hours' time. Hey, hi there. So when it's done, you should taste it for salt and pepper, and that the beans are nice and soft, and then add the pasta to it. Let everything sit covered for about 10 or 15 minutes before serving, or just let it cool if you're going to save it. Actually, the flavor gets more intense overnight. Don't forget to remove those bay leaves and the cheese rinds. The bay leaves can be dangerous if swallowed, because it can get caught in the esophagus. And then serve, and that's my recipe. Buon appetito.